What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I'm here with Michele, and we are talking about season 6, episode 5 of Outlander. And I get to say two words I haven't been able to say in like 3
What is it?
Mark me. We got Bonnie Prince Charlie back in this episode. And you know, the funny thing is, I had heard that he was coming back. You know, rumor, and I was like, how would they have to do a flashback? Because other than that, like, how would you do that at this point? But I wasn't expecting it. Like, I thought it was just like rumor, you know. And then when they open up with the shot of the cliffs and the sea, I was like, are they doing Bonnie Prince Charlie? Is that what they're doing? And sure enough, we got him. And we got the two mark me words. Now, I tell you, when I first met that character, you know, season 2, oh my God, that phrase got on my nerves so bad. So bad. Like, you could have a drinking game off the number of times he said that phrase. But over the years, I come to miss it because he was one of those characters that he was irritating. But at the same time, I feel like he was sincere in a lot of ways. Like, he really wanted things to be better for Scotland. But he was also just so clueless on a lot of things. And poor Jamie, he had to sit there and pretend to be, well, I don't think at the end he was pretending. I think he really genuinely like cared about him. Like, maybe not, oh yes, this should be my king. But I think just as a person, he's just kind of like, okay, you know what? He's not so bad. But I thought it was fun to see him in this episode. Even for the brief moment we got him.
Yes.
It was
in
fun.
1746 Scotland.
Escaping.
Right. And he was annoyed to be in the outfit. I mean, she's trying to get you on the boat the best way possible. You're trying to escape and you're like irritated.
Because you got to wear a bonnet and you got to
you're irritated with your outfit. I'm sorry. Well, this is the way we're going to do it.
Welcome to our life.
Yes.
I know she was looking at him like, you really have the nerve to complain that you have to wear this for what? They may have been traveling for what, a couple of days. And she's like, this is what I have to wear every day. Get over it. I'm trying to save your life.
And to live, if I have to do that to live, of course I will do it. I'm not going to complain about this.
Right, because you can just stay in Scotland and let them kill you or imprison you. You can go join your friend James in Arsmuir.
Oh, I don't think he'll be able to handle that.
No, he would.
Really?
Because I was going to say, if he was in a place like Arsmuir and you have Jamie and his people there, they might protect him. But
okay,
then you have people like Tom Christie and his folk who might be like, kill him. So nah, he might not. Because
one morning he would not wake up. So sorry, somebody would have stabbed him in his sleep.
Yeah, or slit his throat or did something. They would have like smothered him or something. So yeah, he probably wouldn't have survived prison. But you know, this is where we see he's on his way to his exile for the rest of his life. But the important part about this, as we'll find out later on in the episode, is the episode is not exactly about him. It's about the woman, Flora MacDonald, who helped him to escape. But one of the things that I did love about this episode that was very different from what we usually see is they showed their boat coming off the shores and you know, they're kind of sailing towards France, and they open the Skyboat song in Gaelic. And they have like a different opening montage. So it's not the regular opening montage that we usually have with Claire. You kind of see a little bit of the sky and of the waters and of the boat sailing. And I thought it was very comforting, which is funny because when I first heard the new version of the theme song, I wasn't sure if I liked it.
Yes, I can agree to that.
And then hearing it in Gallic, I had to get used to it because I'm not used to Gallic singing. But now I love it. Like the more I hear it, I love it. And so watching this episode and seeing them come into the mountains and it's just green and beautiful. And I was just like, I feel really relaxed right now. It's just, it was very calming and it was very, it was unexpected for me. I wasn't expecting to like it that much.
Well, side note, I'm liking how they're doing it differently on the different episodes sometimes with the opening. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah. Because for so long we got a lot of and I think we still do, like you still get some of the scenes from the first and second seasons like kind of thrown in there, but they do show scenes that are a little more up to date with where we are in the current storyline. But just the fact that it was just so completely different this time. And then, like I said, the song was done completely in Gallic. I loved it. I was like, okay, this is nice. So does that mean they're about to kick our butts in this episode? But it wasn't really that bad.
No, it wasn't. I mean,
you said it was kind of boring.
I'm gonna say the episode was a little blah. That's just how I feel. I mean, there was a couple of highlights in the episode. However,
yes, there were. There were some highlights.
There were some highlights. However, I was thinking, wait, coming off of our last episode, I'm thinking, okay, we kind of sometimes you kind of need that episode where you throw in some important information, some highlights, and just a calm before the storm. That's what I kind of felt this episode was, a little calm before I feel like we're about to hit a freaking tornado.
If they go the way I
colliding with the hurricane. That's how I'm feeling. So this is how I felt this episode was. It wasn't touching like the last couple of episodes where you're breaking my heart. Here it was like, ooh, we'll talk about the highlights. Here's some highlights. Here's some things that we wanted to see. And we just got
like
you all.
Look,
yes, back. I didn't want to say that, but yes, getting you all peaceful, like you just was calm and peaceful before you hit that tornado hurricane storm that we're about to hit.
Yeah. But Lord John Gray is back.
Yes, I did enjoy that.
Because, after the last season, with everything kind of uncertain about COVID and everything, he had announced at the end of season 5 that Lord John Gray wouldn't be appearing in season 6. He was like, no, I think I'm done with Lord John Gray. And we were like, for the rest of the show or just for next season? And no one really answered that question. But I'm thinking maybe because I believe he was shooting another show. So maybe if they had done season 6 a little bit earlier, it would have conflicted with whatever he was shooting. But maybe because of COVID and because it took them 655 days for Outlander to come through, maybe they were able to work it into where we got his character back. But anyway, we got our bae back. I'm so happy.
Yes.
So happy. I love it because I love him in this role. Like
I do too. And like it's a perfect fit. I mean, it's just perfect.
Because he has that right amount of seriousness and, just kind of, this is who I am. And then he has just that little bit of snark and playfulness that you really only see when he's around like Jamie, Claire, and Brianna, because to everybody else, he has to be kind of like proper. But those three, and this is actually great considering the fact that when he and Claire met, they didn't really like each other because I think they kind of looked at each other as competition. But now I think there is a genuine love and respect there as friends and as family, especially considering that he is the father figure to, William. So I think that there's, that barrier has gone down. And then, of course, his whole history with Bree before she even realized that Roger was still alive or that he was coming back. He was a very good friend to her at a time when she was very angry with Jamie, for selling Roger in the first place. Of course, Jamie didn't know, but he became a very good friend to her. And she is one of the people that I think he really can kind of be himself around and not feel some kind of way. So just seeing him in this episode, I was like, yay, he's back. This will probably be the only time we see him this season, but
Probably so.
At least we saw
Probably
him.
so. We at least saw him.
Right. And the other thing is, were we not just talking in the last episode about how we really wanted to see them dress up again and go back into town and kind of be social and get off the ridge for a little bit, because they're dealing with a lot of drama on the ridge and they just need a breather. And they got their
they needed a little vacation.
They did. Well, I don't know if I would consider this a vacation. It's
I'm not
a break.
You sure for Claire it wasn't? Okay. Self-medicating, and then also the ladies had their little hemp.
You know,
they had a little ladies club. I enjoyed that.
They did, but I mean, Claire, you gonna take a hit and then be late for the guest of honor speech? Like,
okay, so I had an issue with that because I'm thinking when you're at home, it's different. You know, you're in your operation, you can self-medicate, you fall asleep, you wake up whenever, everything's okay. They're like, oh, she's taking a nap. However, you're not home.
Right.
You're at a party and you go off to the side because you needed a moment.
Yeah.
Which those moments are not short moments. To make it appears that those moments are long. So why would you do that now?
Again, I don't like this Ether storyline because I don't feel like it's Claire. It just feels so, especially, and I realize this happens in real life. You know, there are doctors who are addicts and are still able to take care of their patients, but it's just the way that we've always seen Claire. She's always been about her patients first. You know, even the people who did her wrong, like Lionel Brown, she wouldn't do harm to them. So the fact that she is putting herself at risk really to harm her patients, because we don't know what kind of long-term effects that ether is going to have on her. You know, this is something that shouldn't even exist in her in the time that she's in right now.
Right.
You know, and granted, Claire is a brilliant physician, but still, again, you are messing with things that are not supposed to exist at this point in time. And you don't know how that's going to come back and bite you in the ass.
You don't. And
typically that to have a negative impact on her when she's treating her patients. What if she makes a mistake? You know, and that's the whole thing I'm sitting here thinking about. I'm like, this is so not Claire, because I don't think Claire would put herself in that position to jeopardize a patient.
I agree. And typically I disagree with you with, okay, this is not typically Claire, but this episode right here where you're not in your environment and you put yourself at risk outside. Now I was like, okay, that's not really, she wouldn't really do that.
Right.
I can see her doing a lot at home because she's seeing his ghost, Lionel's ghost. But away, you left the area, so you should be okay. She shouldn't be doing that. So I kind of I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. It's just anyway. So what happens is they're in Wilmington to listen to Flora MacDonald, and Flora MacDonald is basically, like we said, she helped Bonnie Prince Charlie escape from Scotland all those years ago, but now she's here as a loyalist, telling her fellow Scots people to be loyal to the king. And again, Jamie is at this point where he has decided, okay, you know what? I can't be an agent for the king. He's already resigned his position as the representative to the Cherokee. And, now he's got to sit here and look at somebody that was once kind of an ally to him, somebody that he knew, that he was friendly with. And she's, telling everybody why they should follow the king, or why they should, and it's just, Jamie is just in this weird position where he's just like, what am I supposed to do? Right. And then on top of that, we find out that yes, Fergus has gone on to New Bern.
Yes.
To become a printer.
Sure.
Because Aunt Jocasta bought him a print shop. Aunt Jocasta is a busybody, but I can't say
yes,
I'm
she
mad
is.
at her. I can't say that I'm mad
You
at
can't.
her, though.
She was trying to do best by him, so I can't. You can't be mad at her.
No.
And I absolutely love her. So I was excited to see her.
I love her snarkiness. I do. And we said this in the last episode too, because I said, we were talking about Aunt Jocasta and, just her fire and her snark and, her back and forth with Claire. I think she and Claire really care about each other. They really love each other, but they also challenge each other because they're both very strong-willed women. And so, yeah, this was the fun part of the episode for me, because I will say, I know the Christies are playing a huge part of this season, but at the same time, I was really getting tired of that storyline. So
yes, we need really others.
So I'm really glad that we have a break from that, and you get to see Claire and Jamie reminisce a little bit about their time, back with Bonnie Prince Charlie, and talking about Flora McDonald, and Jamie just kind of, trying to figure out, okay, so she's here to talk to, the Scots about being loyal British subjects. And then at the same time, receiving a letter from a son of liberty, like, hey, come and meet with us. We're going to talk about being rebels to the king. I was like,
yes,
Jamie, don't you go getting in trouble right now. You have no time to be in trouble. None. Yeah, way too much stuff going on right now.
It's too much. But it's good that we did take a break and that we're in town so we can see other characters and get a different storyline.
Like Lord John break.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I absolutely love that character. I adore his character so much. So
I do too.
I was very happy to see him.
We do notice that Flora McDonald has a necklace and it is missing a stone. Who has that stone?
That's the funny thing, because when we see the stone at the end of the episode, and obviously I'm not going in order at this point, I just want to talk.
Yeah.
When we see that stone at the end of the episode, I remember you asking me, who was that in the jail?
Yes.
I think that was the guy who was with Lionel Brown's group that was from the future, the one who asked Claire the question about, does the name the Beatles mean anything to you? Because if you remember, he had long flowing hair, and he was kind of not small, but he wasn't as stout or as built as Jamie.
Okay.
But I believe that was him, because he said something about he was just trying to get home, and that was one of the reasons, Claire was trying to get him to help her. She was like, look, I know where some stones are. I know I can get you a gemstone. I can help you get home if you help me. And he didn't help her. He
didn't help. Right.
And she in the middle of the night.
Yes, and she did tell Jamie about it and said he didn't help. But it's just, I feel like it's someone else. I just have a feeling like it's just another character that may be a problem. I don't feel like he's a problem, but I don't know who else it could be.
Right, because even with me thinking about what I remember from the books, I don't think anybody else had that kind of impact or was from the future. I think it was only this guy.
It was only him? Okay.
That I remember. I do think that there may have been, because when he came back with a group. So it was him, it was Ottertooth, but I think all of them, if I'm not mistaken, I think they came through, or they went through the stones together, but I think they ended up in different places.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. So that's why when Claire mentioned Ottertooth, he was like, you know him? You've seen him? Is he alive? And Claire was like, no, he's dead. And he was like, how? So I think it has to be him, because I can't think of anybody else that it could be, or that they would introduce in that way here, because you're automatically looking at it like, okay, he has a gemstone. Obviously, he has to be a time traveler.
He has to, but he was whistling. What was he whistling again? Do you remember?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the tune right now. I'll see it when it plays later on. But yeah, he was whistling something from the future. So that's another reason why
Right.
I think
You would think
it was him. And I
and
cannot
see,
remember his name.
I would say it wouldn't be because the tune he was whistling, I would be like, he wouldn't really be whistling. I thought it was like a baseball tune or something. It just felt like that wouldn't be a song that you would be singing.
It was. Okay, so we paused the recording to go do a little research because it was bothering us. And apparently he was whistling the Colonel Bogey March. And you hear this all the time. Like they used to play it in I have heard it on ice cream trucks. And you hear it in like different cartoons, different movies, but I don't know why he would be whistling that. I'm sure there's probably some significance because
it has to be, but
they don't put stuff like that in the show just willy-nilly.
They don't.
Has to be some kind of significance. I just and this little thing just made me realize, okay, I'm gonna have to start doing a little more research before coming on here talking about it, because that was really bothering me that I couldn't remember the name of the march. But
yeah, I still don't feel like that would be the song he will be whistling. So I don't know. There's a small chance it could be another character they introduced.
I don't know. I still think it's him. And Wendigo was his name.
Wendigo, yes.
Wendigo, because I remember when I heard it, my mind went to supernatural. Like, oh, is he a flesh-eating beast or a shapeshifter? Or yeah. So anyway, so you don't think it's him. I think it's him. So I guess
a small chance. So I guess probably is, because we haven't encountered another time traveler, and we encountered him last season. So probably so. And then it was very clear too, when Claire told Jamie that she met him and that he did not help her. So clearly that's going to be brought up again. I feel. So it's probably him. It's because probably
like I said, they don't really put those kind of details in and just leave them open-ended. Like those details are there for a reason. So I feel like it's kind of connected, and especially since we're kind of sort of at the end of this season, because we only have 7 episodes. This is episode 5. So the fact that we saw him at the end of the last season, and now, we see this mysterious figure at the end of this season. And again, I'm telling you, go back and look at that episode and look at the hair. The hair, I think, is what gives it away.
I think somebody was in prison a while. They got long hair. However, he did say he was trying to get home. Yeah. So he stole McDonald's jewels.
Right. So he couldn't have been in prison too long. He couldn't have been locked up for too long, because she had just lost the necklace or lost the gemstone that morning.
Yeah. So okay.
I think I'm right.
Yes, you probably are. It's a 95% chance that it's him. 5% chance it could be somebody else.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, gemstone, long hair. I think it's him. But again, I am a little puzzled as to why he chose that particular piece of music. I mean, I know, if I remember correctly, the British, they do use it a lot, or they did use it a lot back in those times. But I just we'll have to.
And do you think that he knew that Claire was out there by any chance, or if it's just a coincidence that he was in jail and they were in Wilmington and she heard it?
I think if he was in Wilmington already and she and Jamie got there, for the express purpose of going to see this, this speech, if he was in the area, like we already know, he was very close because he stole her necklace, stole one of the gemstones. Now she recovered the necklace. But I think maybe he was hanging around and may have seen Claire and Jamie. And probably that was why he whistled that, because maybe he figured she would recognize it. So I don't know. Oh, yeah. You know what? Now that I think about it. Yeah, because I don't think that song was composed back then. And I think that's why it struck Claire in that way. Yeah. 1914, that's when it was composed. So they wouldn't have known it back then. This is 1776.
Right. That's why when she heard it, she was like, okay, that is from my time.
But she didn't say that, of course, because she thinks it's all in her head.
Right.
Too
and much ether.
And I mean, I was gonna say she did take some ether.
Yeah, she's not in the moment. She has other things on her mind.
Right. So I don't know, but you know what? We'll talk about this later because we need to go back to the ridge and discuss some things.
Oh yes, because something we talked about a few episodes ago. It's called the Roger and Amy Show. I told you.
This episode, I said, Michelle gonna have some things to say about this.
Yes, I told you Amy was looking for a man, and Roger is his name.
And poor Roger, he's so naive.
He is.
And he doesn't see it. And I mean, she's not being overt about it.
She's not. However, he gave her signs that it's okay because he's spending so much time helping her. And every time she needs something, he's there for her. And that's the same thing he told Brianna, you don't need me. She need me. Honey.
Bitch. You know, when he said that, I was like, okay, I see his point. Because Brianna is a very independent woman. Again, she's from the future. She's not brought up to be, to be like, oh, I need to depend on a man to take care of me and stuff like that. And Roger is still kind of trying to figure out what his place is there. Similar to Brianna, but Brianna is kind of doing what she wants to do. And Roger is kind of like, I don't know what I want to do. I still think that he really is going to go the path of, becoming a minister. Because again, I remember that from the book, but also we've seen him do that during this season. And it seems like something that he really enjoys. So I feel like he's going to do that. And of course, as part of ministry, you do help those less fortunate.
You do.
But I think the problem with Roger is I think he still has to realize what time he's in with certain things, because he had the same thing happen to him with I can't remember her name, but the ancestor of his that he was nice to that ended up getting him hung. Remember?
Yes.
So, he was just trying to look out for her and her kids, because of course that's his ancestor. So if something happens to them, then technically speaking, he won't come to be. So I think he has his heart in the right place, but he does have to remember you are in the late 1700s. And when you spend that much time with a woman, especially that is not your wife, especially when you're around them damn gossipy fisher folk.
Yes.
They're going to start talking, and then there's going to be problems.
And Amy's going to expect something. However, I still feel like Roger will still have this issue in the future. Just the type of man he is. Not in a bad way. Because Brianna was raised to be independent. So I think he will still have a problem even in the future, because she'll be off doing things. And it's like, oh, you don't really need me. He will go help.
Right.
People. I'm going to say other women. Not even thinking. And then those women be like, hey, Roger.
Yeah.
So I just think that's the type of person he is.
But I think too, I feel like a little bit in this sense, because you see Brianna also in this episode, she's off with Malva and Lizzie and why did I just forget her name? Oh my God.
No, you didn't.
Marsali.
Now I'm about to say, you didn't forget her name.
Yeah, so
this is just about the last episode we see Marsali. So no, is it going to be? Because she's going to go.
Because she's going to go with Fergus. That damn.
I'm a tad bit upset about that.
That damn Jocasta. But anyway, so she's off with the four of them, and she's looking for a place to build like a cistern. And I'm like,
water pipes.
Yeah, but I'm like, Brianna,
she go again.
Well, okay, so I know we have a problem with her doing too much from the future.
She
Granted,
about to, I like what he said, indoor plumbing. You about to do something with plumbing. I
but
was like, yes.
I feel like maybe I'm not saying that she should act like she needs his help or anything like that, not pretending that way, because
Oh, yeah.
no, Brianna is very capable, but maybe include Roger in that, you know, especially since he's kind of floating, trying to figure out what he wants to do. It's obvious he likes building things because that's what he's doing over there with little Amy. He's building her cabin. We know he likes to build things because he fixed up the little house for them once Jamie and Claire gave it to them. He added a loft and he did some other stuff. So if he likes to build, give him an opportunity to work with you, to help you, especially if you are in that mind space that you are spending too much time over there. Okay, give him something to do over here. Like I said, not necessarily saying that she should make herself out to be needy or that she needs him.
No, but just include him.
Yeah, like that's your partner.
Right. And he's a good sounding board because he is from the future. So he can literally help you, like, okay, we can't add this, but we could do this.
Right. Like, look, I'm not about to have my wife hung as a witch. So I'm gonna need you to slow your roll.
Right.
Maybe not include this. And maybe stop making the vroom vrooms progressively better, and I just need her to stop some stuff.
We go one episode, we gonna open it up and she working on a Corvette in a minute.
Right. But
but I like how Brianna wasn't like jealous or upset about it. She's just like, I'm just gonna let you be aware that,
Right. But did you see when she was walking with the girls and they were asking her about Roger? She was like, well, he's helping fix Mistress McCallum's heart, so it's just us girls. Did you see the way Malva was looking at her? Yes. I was like, why are you looking at her like that? And then, of course, they come across a love charm of some sort in the grass with, what is it that Marsali says? Dried seaweed, bones, and flat rocks. And she's like, I think these are people bones. Who casting love spells? And of course, they start trying to figure out, like, who's doing this? Who's doing that? And even, I don't know, I don't know. We'll talk about her later. Lizzie has one of her little fainting spells from her malaria, which I think this is the first time they've really mentioned it in the show, but that's literally like when she met Brianna, she was suffering from malaria, and that was one of the reasons why in the books, Lizzie's father was part of the story. He's not in this, but he was part of the story, and he wanted her to get away from France. Was it France? Yeah, France, because because he needed her to be better, and he was like, she needs to be somewhere that's not that where she can start getting better, where she can have better access to medicines or something. And he I think he indentured her to Brianna so that she would come across on the boat with her to the States. I believe that's what the story was in the books. So I don't recall them really mentioning her malaria in the show. I think I may have heard it once.
One time, yes.
Right. But we've never seen her have that situation where she's getting faint and, they have to carry her back. But I know we're only laughing because we know what happens in I think it's the next episode. And
yes, but you have already kind of,
not the next episode, but it's the episode after that.
But you already have hinted at, her and the twins,
and you guessed it too.
Yeah, relationship, because when they show them, it's always the three of them, and they're peeing back and forth. So we get a little insight that we're about to see something develop here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't know who does the love spell. Quite interesting. So whose bones, whose fingers? I mean,
Well,
I mean, we do find out later on in the episode, but it's just, and who did it. But and I will be curious to know who she did it for. But
girl,
would you like to just go there?
let's just
Let's
go
just
there.
go
We're
there.
already there. We're already there.
So Malva did the love spell using, when did the grief eater?
The sin eater.
The sin eater. Okay, the
His
sin
bones.
eaters. His bones, his fingers.
So my question is, I want
Like,
to know how the sin eater died in the first place, because when we saw him at the not quite funeral,
right, he was fine. He
was fine. He was older.
He ate the sin.
And he did that. So I was like, okay, so what happened? Did he get sick? I don't know.
Did she kill him?
I don't know if I think I don't know.
Because how do you happen upon
like I don't think she would have like physically killed him, but maybe, you know what? If you think about her looking through Claire's books in the last episode, you remember when Claire was showing her the notebook and she was reading through it, and Claire
yes,
yeah, you can look at it, and she asked, why do you document all of this stuff? And this is for people, so they can benefit from it. Maybe Claire has some other things in there too, like what to avoid. And maybe I don't know. I mean, there could have been so many different things. Like Malva could have come across the sin eater. He might have already been dead, or she may have lured him in there and killed him for what purpose? I mean, well, obviously to create the love spell, because she's literally sitting there cutting his bones off. And
right, and I just can't see her just happening upon him dead or sick. I feel like she'll be more of a seeker. He's older.
Yeah.
I can give him a little poison. So I don't really know what's going on with her.
Especially if she's curious about all that stuff.
Yes.
But the love potion thing.
Who is the love potion for?
Girl, okay, so let's count down the possibilities.
Wow, yeah.
Is, the dude she was caught in the church with.
Yes.
We know she's been making eyes at Ian.
Yes.
She had that brief encounter with Jamie where, he walked her home from the woods, but also remember she was watching him and Claire.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It will be Jamie too, that she was very interested in their
tryst.
Yes.
So maybe,
it could be him too.
That might have aroused her curiosity or aroused her, and she might have been like, oh, okay, well, let me see if I can do, I don't know. I'm to the point now where I ain't trusting you.
Right. We see, since I don't have the background of the book, this episode, you do see the other side of her. Mm-hmm. You do, because at first you're like, oh, who did this love spell? Could be Amy. Maybe she really want Roger. But it's not really Amy. Mm-mm. So okay, who has done it? Malva did it. Okay. But when she flipped the switch on Roger,
I was
like not like, oh, I've been caught. Please don't tell my daddy.
Girl, it was like,
no, it was instantaneously. She just jumped up and said, okay, you want to say something? I'll say something about you kissing no Amy.
And Roger's like, that's not true. She was like,
who gonna believe?
I was like,
oh, okay. This is how we play in this game.
Girl, I had Sonic playing in my head. This bitch
got me. Girl. I mean, and I'm all over here defending you, saying you can let your dad fall off that horse and don't go get no help. I've been on your side. Thinking maybe something not right with your brother. But it's you. See, that's when you have to watch those friends, watch those people who are just quiet and they observe everything. Mm-hmm. Because they're the ones that when something happens, they quit.
Mm-hmm. And notice she has been very observant.
She has
been absorbing everything that Claire has been teaching her, like a sponge.
Watching everything.
So, you know what? At this point, even though I know Claire only has the one cup to go over her face, I wouldn't be surprised if Malva put some ether on a handkerchief and took it to that sin eater.
That's a great idea.
Done that.
She may have.
And he's already so old. So, and remember, Claire specifically said, when she put it on Lizzie's face, she said, don't hold it on there too long. We don't want her to stay asleep longer than necessary. Or if you keep it on too long, it could be harmful. Maybe she put it on his face and suffocated him with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's not like that had to have been his hut, because one, she's so little. I don't think she could have dragged him there. She couldn't have.
No. Mm-mm.
It looked like a hut that he might have stayed in. So I don't know. Maybe she came across him and she was like, and she just happened to think, oh, this is a perfect opportunity. He's too old, so he can't fight me. Or maybe she just came in talking to him about, maybe she wanted to confess some sin or something like that, or she needed some help. And now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, yeah, she could have killed him.
Right. And then experimenting on him too, trying out some of the things she saw in Claire's book.
Girl, that's one to pay attention to.
So I think that's a great idea. She probably did do that.
Still want her daddy to fall off a horse? She sounds like she need a whooping.
Right. I'm not so sure he needs to fall off the horse, because he may need to still be alive to help her.
Oh goodness.
I'm just I mean, quickly switched.
Right.
So
yeah, Roger's gonna have to be careful now. He's gonna have to be extra careful.
But I think by the end of this episode, he realized that it's okay to go and just check on her like you check on everyone else, and get someone else to help her. Like, literally get another man that she can connect with,
which he had to do,
to be her new man.
Right.
Not you. Because then his eyes started to open up after they had him and Brianna had that conversation, when she's sitting at the head of the table, like you're the man of the house, Amy, and Aiden's kind of like act like you his dad. Okay, it's time for you to go.
Right. I just and she just but anyway, like you said, after Roger has that encounter with her, he goes back home and he tells Brianna, okay, so such and such is gonna, help her, because I need to be here, with my family. It's just the three of us. And then Brianna says 4, and I'm like, finally, Mandy.
That's what I was thinking of you. I was like, oh, okay, you did mention this, so here it is.
Finally, we're getting a second baby. She's pregnant. So yes, Roger, you definitely need to stay at home now.
Yes.
But and Brianna is very understanding to him when they have the conversation, because she's like, look, I understand the way you are about young mothers. And again, same thing with and I still can't remember her name, but Mistress Mackenzie from the boat. She was a young mother. And like Brianna said, you lost your mother very young. And I think you have an affinity towards young mothers. You want to make sure that they're taken care of and they're helpful. But you just have to be careful, because sometimes they may take that for granted, or they may try to take advantage of it. I don't think Amy was trying to do that.
No,
but I mean, Roger is a very likable guy. He ain't too bad on the eyes either.
No.
So when you're by yourself and you have this young boy to take care of, this other little baby, and you're alone, and this guy is showing you a lot of attention, even though it's just because he's being nice, he's trying to make sure you and your children are taken care of. Yeah, things might get misconstrued. She might read those signals a different way.
She did.
And now it's like,
and now she realized, because he pawned her off on somebody else, that okay, I guess he doesn't feel the way I thought he felt about me. It's okay. I'll move on.
Yeah, it's okay. He has Brianna.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's okay.
right. And anybody who's ever seen him in Brianna knows that they're not penetrating that. There's
Nope.
no coming in between that. As much shit as they have gone through to be together, yeah, no. Ain't nobody touching that.
No, not at all.
And now you're definitely not. There's another baby on the way, you know?
So,
And, I hate to say this because we already know that Roger has accepted Jimmy as his own, but there's still been nothing incontrovertible saying that Jim is his biological. But we know that this one is his. And then not only that, he gets to be there for all of it because he missed Jim's whole pregnancy.
he did
because of everything that went down and with the mohawk and everything. So he gets to be here and be present and be an actual father this time. So that news made me so happy for him.
Yes, congratulations.
Because he deserves it.
Yes, he does.
He deserves it.
I'm sorry, Roger been through a lot.
Girl,
I mean, he has.
That whole family has been through a lot.
They have.
Claire kind of feels like it's because they came back in time.
Yeah, because Brianna been through a lot too. So that, that's traumatic also. So it's a lot. So congratulations to them. Happy that they're, having this baby. Kind of they do. I'm not looking forward to the decisions they have to make that you kind of brought up that was in the book dealing with, maybe going back home, going back to the future. So
yeah, and
we'll see how that turns out.
I don't know if they go back. So
we'll see how that turns out.
I know.
So
I'm looking in the background and Malva just got into the hut with the Sin Eater. Is it just me or does this dude look like he is moldy? He looks like a really weird shade of green.
And he did. I was concerned that he'd been dead for a while and that she may, I'm thinking she experimented on him too.
Right. And she looks almost ecstatic when she's sitting there cutting his finger off. She's like,
yes. So, okay.
Like she looks a little bit too excited about that. So
we'll see what happens. So
I don't know. I'm just saying, Malva, Chris, what did I say? The crystals are going to cause chaos. So,
chaos. And that takes us to, that's why I said this episode was like a little calm. So that means a shit show is coming.
Yeah. Especially now that we are starting to see her true colors.
Yes.
Definitely.
We are. And it's between them and right now the war. Because now we have a clear cut of where Jamie is. He's on the side of the Sons of Liberty.
Which Lord John is not too pleased about.
No, and that's really hard to see because he really was kind of heartbroken about that.
Yeah.
But I had an issue with it though, because John, you really trust Jamie. So if Jamie is making the decision, he is not making it lightly. He has thought about this and it's something that is leading him down this path. And you got to trust that it may not seem right, but it may be a reason for it.
Yeah. Especially if you think about it, like Lord John is one of Jamie's best friends. I mean, this is the man whom he entrusted the care of his son. Not only that, his son is a British officer now.
Yes.
And even though William doesn't know that Jamie is his father, that's spoken of clearly. So I don't think Jamie would do that just on a whim. Like you said, he has considered it. He has been on both sides of it.
Yes, he has.
He's been on both sides of it. He's a Jacobite and he fought as a redcoat. And again, he lost his godfather wearing that damn red coat. So he's been on both sides.
Yes, he has.
So I'm sure he has weighed the consequences and he's going to do whatever feels right to his conscience. That's one thing about Jamie. He's always done what's right and what feels right with his conscience. He's not going to do something that he doesn't agree with if there's not a good reason for it.
Right. And that's why I said Lord John should just kind of, know that, okay, I don't agree with you, but I'm just going to just see how this goes and kind of listen to you.
Yeah. I don't
But
think
but it really hurt. It hurt him though.
It did.
You could like look on his face. He was hurt.
I feel like, dude, he's a Scot. Do you remember what the British did?
Yeah. I guess he forgot.
Do you remember how y'all met?
Right. I guess he forgot those things because he just was looking like devastated. I'm like, honey, it's okay.
I know. But let me tell you, when he was standing in that group of gentlemen and Jamie and Claire walked into the room, did you see the way he was looking? He was like, I don't care. He's still in love with Jamie.
Yeah. That's why he was kind of hurt. That's why he was hurt when he, kind of found out where he was going. But he is. Yeah. He definitely is.
Yeah. Yeah. But
they always say Claire has that appeal. I said Jamie has that appeal too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, he definitely does. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's funny too when they were talking and Jamie asked about William, or Claire asked about William, I think. He was telling them about how he's almost taller than him. And he was like, and he beats me in chess every chance he gets. I was like, that's a nod to Jamie, because Jamie used to beat the hell out of him too in chess. So I was like, oh, okay. All right. I like it. I love this friendship though. I
do too. I do.
It has been through its ups and downs and twists and turns. But I think in the end, Lord John will understand Jamie's place, because again, they have been very good friends to each other. So I think John will consider that once he gets over his disappointment.
Yeah, he will.
So, but it's just so funny because the look on his face, he's still looking like so worried, like you can tell he's still in love with Jamie, poor baby. But who isn't in love with Jamie? I'm just saying. But
that's true.
But yes, anyway, we got to see them dressed up again. Jocasta is there with her husband, Duncan Ennis, which should be Myrtle, but we ain't even gonna go there.
Yeah, we're not gonna go there. But she, she has to, like she said, she has to have a man in this time.
Yeah. And then, Jamie confronts her about helping Fergus, and she was like, look, I just saw an opportunity to help. And Jamie's like, yeah, an opportunity, all right. And she was like, what do you mean? Do you not want him to be happy? And Jamie's like, that's not it. She was like, she's doing it because she says, once Marsali joins him, they'll be safer from people who would think ill of Henri Christian. And honestly, you can't fault her for that.
No.
If that is
if that's the reason.
if that's her true reason. Because Jocasta can be a sneaky little something.
What could be another reason?
Well, you know what? I think they did mention that later on in this episode because of the Flora McDonald thing and the flyers.
And the flyers printing, yes.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a print master who will print whatever it is that you tell him to, because that would be
the ulterior motive for the job.
But
which can later be a dangerous situation for them, because if they're printing for the king and then you have Sons of Liberty,
a rebellion,
right? And then if they're printing for Sons of Liberty, then that's against the king, so that's another issue. So
you have to think about it now, because
that's not a good spot for them in the upcoming war,
right?
Period.
And then, like, here, clearly, Jamie is like, okay, well, he starts out the episode, he meets with the Sons of Liberty, and he's kind of behind them at first, but then they start talking crazy talk about going and, attacking people, and, we're just going to do this. And Jamie is like, this is not what we're supposed to be about. And of course, he delivers this rousing
great speech
right before the redcoats show up. And he was like, look, I just came to warn y'all that the redcoats were coming, and here they come. He was like, okay, hide, go this way. We're playing pool. And he was like, we're not doing anything. We're just shooting pool. We're just enjoying company. But I'm like, you know what? Jamie would be a good, and we've seen this. We know this. Jamie would be a good ass leader.
Yes.
Because he talks sense when most people don't. And not only that, he has been through so much.
He has some world experience.
Mm-hmm. And he also has
to help in this situation.
And he also has a
yes.
in his family.
Right, he does. Two of them, one on the left and one on the right.
Let's just say he has a little bit of an unfair advantage about which way this thing is going to go.
Yes, he does.
So, and I think that definitely, colored his decision too. Like, oh, I already know they're about to lose, so yeah, let me not be on that side of history.
And forgive me if I'm wrong. I believe that Cornelius is really a name that did help with the Sons of Liberty.
I believe
starting America.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So yeah, I mean
that's so like how they tied that in.
Yeah. I mean, and she does that with her stories. Like she ties
very well.
I mean, think about it. Remember, they met George Washington
in
the theater where Claire had to perform that emergency surgery. So, that's why I think we talked about this off air one time. We were like, yeah, so is Alexander Hamilton going
Hamilton. Maybe we'll see Jefferson too.
Right. Or Lafayette or any of those. Yeah.
Any of them.
Right. But I like the fact too, we get to see Mary, the servant, even though servant, but they do bring her back, and she kind of helps. She has some words with Jamie about Jocasta. She's like, look, I want to keep an eye on her, but something's not right. Right. But okay, let's go back to the ridge for a minute. Because the twins have approached Brianna to find out about Lizzie being sick, and Brianna is the one that gives them the ointment. They're like, she's like, okay, take this to her. She has to rub it all over. Something tells me she might have had some help with that. I'm just saying.
Probably.
You give it to the two people that we already can tell she has a thing for both of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know how they're working that out between them. Like if this is a competition, or I don't know what's going on with them yet at this point in the show. I know where it's supposed to end up. But I think it's interesting seeing how they're building this up, because it's like they're being obvious about it, but they're also not just throwing it out there.
Right. So for some of us,
subtle.
Right. And for some of us who are not friends with the book readers and just watch shows, they may be like, oh, okay. And when something happens, they're like, let me go back. There were little signs, and they have been signs.
Mm-hmm.
Now I paid more attention to the signs because of our conversations, but there are signs there. But what they do with this triangle or line or circle, I don't know where we're going to be with this. It'll be interesting, and the ointment may play a role, because it's kind of sometimes when they mention things, you're like, well, why was that important? So it's important to talk about she's sick, and it's important that this ointment needs to be rubbed all over.
It looked like massage oil to me. I'm just saying.
So then you're like, okay. It just could have been like, take this to Lizzie and this will make her feel better. And we'll be like, okay, she's sick. Right. But make sure you rub it in.
Yeah. Okay. But so at this point in the show, Fiona MacDonald has come out, and she's met Jamie and Claire. And I love the fact that they're in this proper company, because you have Major MacDonald here, you have Lord John Grey, and when Jamie kind of introduces himself, and he was like, formerly of Brock Turok, and she's like, the last time I saw you, you kicked me in my shin. He said, well, you pulled my hair. They were children. This is the funny thing. They were children. And everybody's looking at this exchange like, what? But I like the fact that even with someone who's supposed to be kind of important or that high up, they still show a few human moments, like, oh, I'm not all that important. Yeah, I know him, we played as children, that sort of thing. And then Jocasta gets the vapors, and I don't know if it's just that or Jocasta just kind of wants to leave the room, because we have to remember Jocasta, she lost a lot during that time. You know, she lost all 3 of her daughters. She lost her grandchildren, and she really lost it because her husband was a secret Jacobite, and she had no clue that he was that deep in. You remember they sent gold to him, and it was because of that gold that she lost her younger daughter. So I don't know, maybe even though she's there with Fiona, maybe all of that just being brought up, maybe it just kind of, she was like, okay, I can't do with this, let me get out of here, you know, or she just wanted to get away with the women. But I think, you know, too, being married to a man that you really don't love and who is there all the time by your side, that can probably get a bit
on your nerves. Yes,
so
it would.
Yeah. But yeah, the ladies go have a smoke.
Right.
I looked at that scene and I was like, that was so funny to me, because it seems like the most improper thing for them to do at that time. And they're just sitting out there like, we don't care what she is.
Well, Jocasta had a little eye problem, and what was it? Some pain in her eye. So we were just trying to get that, you know, taken care of. So,
I mean, Claire's the doctor.
Yes, she is.
But then to go from that, from treating someone to
10 minutes later.
Right. And like you said, it's not like she was looking at Lionel Brown. He didn't show up.
No.
Not that I remember.
And she was outside. I mean, it was just, you could be exposed at any point. And that also puts you in a situation where, even during that time, and I hate to bring this up, but during this time, you just laid out somewhere. A man can just come around and even take advantage of the situation.
They did that a lot in those days.
Right. So that's kind of like also putting yourself in a situation, you know, or even to a point where someone thinks that you're dead.
Yep.
That come just walking by. So,
and not only that,
I don't know, that does seem out of character. Like, I would just expect her to be like, wait till the evening time when they go back to their room.
But here's the thing: she's in a place where she can't just go to another room and do that like she can at home. You know, if Jamie's upstairs asleep in the bedroom, she can go down to the surgery, but she can't really do this here. But to me, I feel like you're putting yourself at unnecessary risk, not only you, but your husband too. Because you know how it is when those tongues start wagging. What happens if, you know, somebody says something to him and then there's an issue with that? You know, Jamie's not about to let people talk about Claire.
No, not at all.
So that could have been a whole different type of situation. Claire, I'm gonna need you to get yourself together. It's gone on long enough. Get your act together.
It has. Now that she has taken it out in public, I mean, she took it on vacation with her. Time's up. Time's up.
There, and I would say this too. Okay. I am sick of the whole Lionel Brown thing. Like, I
am
get
too.
what he's supposed to represent. And I get that, you know, he's evil and the actor is great. But I'm tired of seeing Lionel Brown. This has gone on long enough. Let it go.
And it's been like every episode too. So yes, it's time for her to talk to someone about it. Talk to Jamie about it.
Yeah.
So it is time. Yeah. Time's kind of up on that, because now we have like 3 things going on. She's dealing with that, and then we got the Christies, and then we have the war. So one of them needs to drop off.
Yes. Lionel Brown needs to go. Because once Lionel Brown goes, then that whole ether thing goes.
Yes.
And then we don't have to worry about either one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But you know, the other thing too, now that I think about it, and I'm watching this in the background too. So when the women are sitting there talking as they are, you know, smoking their stuff, I forgot. Claire did get reminded of a bad memory. That's probably why she took the ether. They were sitting there talking, and Flora was talking about Prince Bonnie Charlie, and you know, she was like, I don't wish to speak ill of him, but he was not a leader of men. And Claire was like, no, I don't think he'd mind. And then Jocasta said something about, oh, it seems like I'm the only person here who hasn't met royalty. And then she was like, Claire had the pleasure of meeting the King of France. And you got to remember.
Oh, what happened? Yep, I do.
That wham bam, thank you, ma'am, with him to get Jamie out of prison after she miscarried Faith. So yeah, so now that I think about it, and then they you know, when Jocasta was talking about her eye pain, and she was talking about how she still remembers Myrta from when they were young, and she still had those memories, and that she was glad she could still see him in that sense. And I was like, I think Claire was just like, okay, you know what, this is too much for me this afternoon. I just can't take it. I
need a moment.
Right.
And I need a moment.
I think that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like she was sitting there preparing, you know, she was preparing a pouch of the hemp for Jocasta to take with her just in case she had the eye pain later. And she just happened to open it up, and there's the ether. And I think she was just like, yeah, okay, let me go ahead and take care of this real quick.
Yeah, like, you ladies go ahead. I just need a moment.
But yeah, we need to be done with that.
Yeah.
So I mean, and thinking about that, yeah, Claire's been through some shit. They all have, but oh my goodness, I just need
she has, and it's been like non-stop since she traveled.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
I won't say non-stop.
Well, I will say she maybe had a break when she came home and had Brianna, but then that was a different type of. I'm sorry, that's different because you're dealing with everything there. So
right,
and then when you travel,
being without the man you love,
right,
you're with a man you used to love who is basically, I won't necessarily say holding her hostage in that sense, but basically he was like, okay, if we're gonna be together, we're gonna be together. I'm gonna raise this child as my child. You can never think or mention this man again. That's a different type of prison.
Yeah, it is.
So to not be able to even talk about it. And I mean, I understand where Frank was coming from.
I do
but
too,
again,
because
at the same time,
for them to move forward.
Right. But you were the one who decided to take her back.
Yeah, that's true.
And take on the responsibility of this child. You can't expect her to just all of a sudden cut him out of her mind, because when she confessed all of this to you, you could see very clearly she loved this man and that it killed her to come back. You know what I'm saying? As much as that might have hurt him, I just feel like, again, I don't like the way Frank handled that situation, and then things just kind of made it worse. Look, when she started back sleeping with you, and y'all were doing good with that, you should just let it go. Just let it go.
But instead, you had to say, "Open your eyes." She doesn't want to do that.
I don't know.
Okay, but moving forward, so maybe a little bit of a piece then, and then traveling back to find Jamie. That was nonstop to me.
Yeah.
So she has gone. I feel like she has gone through like a couple people's lifetimes. I mean, she has gone through a lot.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
This hope
looks so good. Lord John looks so good. He does that look so well, because if you see David Berry without this getup, he almost looks like a totally different person. I mean, he still looks good, but his hair is short, and it just, it looks so different. But I like this vintage clothing. It looks so good. And certain people, when they wear it, it just like, I don't know, it enhances their character. He just looks so good. And Jamie too, but now that I'm looking at Jamie in these clothes, I'm like, I miss the curls. like we said.
Yes, we talked about that. The curls.
Like, I want to see what Jamie looks like with the curls as a quote unquote 50-year-old man.
Yeah.
Can we just get him back just one time? Y'all can do the wig. Just make it a little bit, just, yeah, we can have that.
You could. Little CGI.
No, they can do a wig. They did a wig for the yeah.
They can, but it's just nice to see. It's just nice to see the curls.
Yeah.
It would be nice.
But oh goodness. Anyway, so we got trouble in the town. Mary comes out. Master Ennis told me to come get you. There's trouble in the town. So Lord John and Jamie have to go into the town because you have the rebels and you have the loyalists, and they're not quite getting along right now.
No.
Like, they're actually, again, this is another print shop in the town in Wilmington. And, the printer says to Jamie, your aunt had me print these last week. And they are there tarring him, or trying to tar him.
They're trying to. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Fergus is going to have a hard time later on being a printer because of this type of situation is going to occur.
Right.
So that does put them in a little bit of danger in the future.
It does. But when he's telling her, when he's telling Jamie this, they have all the different little broadsheets down there. And so the drawing is, and I'm looking on the background, it's a picture of Flora MacDonald, and it says, she swore, it has her in the boat, and it says, God save the king. And it says, Miss Flora MacDonald swore an oath of allegiance to His Majesty, King George III, having learned or having condemned something her past mistakes. Her most ardent wish is to ensure that her fellow countrymen are not led astray by schemes of rebellion against the fatherland. The American cities or something like that cannot prosper without Great Britain. So yeah, basically, Jocasta is all on the loyalist train. And she's like, yes, everyone should be on this train. And of course, the rebellious people are like, you a traitor. And because you printed this, you're a traitor. So yeah, I think Fergus is gonna have some issues.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be kind of sort of difficult, because at this point, Jamie has, he has said who his allegiance is to. He basically said, I cannot be one of the king's men. I don't agree with what's going on. I can't do it. So anybody who knows that Fergus is Jamie's son may say, okay, well, if Jamie is a rebel, then maybe his son is too. But then again, if Fergus is printing the loyalist stuff, it's kind of like, what do you believe? Like, yeah, we know that people will have a habit of, printing things and doing things that are against their beliefs because of money.
Right.
And that might end up being what Fergus has to do, just because Jocasta bought that shop, and she can pretty much be like, oh yeah, I'll take this away from you. I don't know if she would, but
I don't think she would, but it's going to be important because we talked about it a couple of times in the show. So it's going to be, I don't think this season, but maybe next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely important in this in the revolution.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. You think just when they have time to settle down from one drama, here they come with another. I mean, Jamie has been tarred. Well, luckily he wasn't tarred like those men were last season, because that was horrible.
Yeah, that was.
He just got a little bit behind his ear, but
just a little bit. Don't take that hair.
Maybe if they take the hair, he'll have to grow it back and just be curly. Now that you mentioned, I do want to see the curly hair again. But yeah. But the other thing too, again, we have always talked about, and we talked about the last couple of times, how Jamie is very loyal and Jamie is very honest, and him having to have that talk with Lord John today and basically like pretending like he's a loyalist, that bothered him. He was like, I had to lie to Lord John today, and I don't like that. So at this point, that's when it's like, okay, you know what? I have to make my decision, because things are starting to fall into place. And Claire does remind him, she's like, our allegiance is to this new nation. We can't be British subjects and go with the king.
This is how the war ends. And we got to be on the side of history. Right. The right side of history.
Yep. Which is definitely not. Yeah.
So.
Oh my goodness. But yeah.
That's why I say this was a okay episode.
It was good. I enjoyed it. I like seeing Lord John. I like seeing Aunt Jocasta. Baby news, yay. But then we also see like the disturbing parts. We do. Definitely seeing a change with Malva.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know what's going to happen in the next episode, but I just feel like because this was like almost a calm and neutral episode, not really focused on anyone, I feel like it is the calm before the storm, especially when we see the switch in Malva, especially seeing that switch.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't expecting, I didn't expect her to be doing the love spell. And I clearly didn't expect her to just pop off on Roger ma'am, you're the one. First of all, why would you be?
She wouldn't have said that mess in front of Brianna.
She wouldn't have. But why are you guys making out on the floor of the church? Like literally, your dad can come in at any time. It's like you want to get caught. Almost. That's how I was feeling. Like you want to get caught, and then you got caught, and then you want to throw somebody's business in their face.
Right.
That is not true. So that means you would lie on an innocent man. Roger was innocent. He just helping Miss Amy. He's just helping Miss Amy.
Right.
Because you don't want to get caught. Which means you doing some shit. You killed that man, the sin eater. You're cutting his fingers.
Yeah, now
you're probably experimenting on him.
I really think she did kill him.
You probably have love spells all over for different men.
Well, she definitely had it for what was his name? Jebediah Henderson in the church. Really?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like literally anyone can walk in. You were better off in the woods.
Can you imagine what would have happened if Tom Christie would have walked in that door instead of Roger?
He would have killed her.
Or Alan.
Oh, Alan wouldn't have. I don't know what Alan would have done, but her dad would have, I don't know. Her punishment would have been severe.
I don't know. I feel like now with what we see that she's doing.
Yeah, so that's the
time. Somebody gonna get caught up.
Right. And and then Jamie committing to the Sons of Liberty, and that okay, here we go. It begins.
Oh, but he did have his words with Jocasta about the broadsheets and buying Fergus the print shop, and he was like he was like, what happens if he gets tarred and feathered for not being treasonous enough? She said he what did she say? He knows the dangers. He was like, yeah, I understand that. He was like, and I understand your grief. But if anything happens to my son, and he just let that kind of float there. And then Mary does have to tell him, she's like, look, your auntie hasn't been herself since Mr. Fitzgibbons died. Yeah. You know, she sits in a chair by the fire, you know, look, what did she say? She sits, often I find her in the chair by the fire, having a fitful dream, talking about money stained of blood. And you know, she's thinking about Morna, and she talks about Morna and French gold. And Jamie's just sitting there like, I understand, but still, don't get my son in trouble.
Right. And you don't know if she has a plan. You know what I'm saying? A plan of revenge.
Yeah. And I mean, he understands. What is it that he says? You know, she hasn't lost her mind. She's only lost her heart. So he understands. I mean, he's been there.
Yeah, but he almost lost his son. So, you know, that was for us, that was 2 episodes ago. He almost lost his son.
Right.
So to like, put him, we just got him back, you know, back on track, and now he's in danger again. Yeah, that's the problem.
Yep. Oh, Brianna need to stop making damn planes. She done moved on from the vroom vrooms to the planes.
I know.
It's a very odd looking bird. There is nothing bird like.
It's not. And that's what I'm saying. She carried it too far. I mean, literally, she will have the indoor plumbing. Everyone's gonna want to come to their cabin because they have all kinds of things. They're gonna have a hot tub next season.
So I can't say that I blame her for the indoor plumbing, because
I mean, I can't either, but
no. Toilet situations in the 1700s. So I don't blame her for wanting to do the indoor plumbing, but she's got to be careful. She's got to be careful.
Very, very careful.
And stop building more cars and airplanes and making them more and more advanced, because people are gonna know like something.
And that's why I feel like that's gonna also be brought up later, because if they keep showing it, like it progresses weekly with her inventions. That's why I say, well, so we're gonna wake up and she under the hood or something. And it's a Corvette. You're like, where did you get that from? I mean, they have a hot tub in their cabin.
Now, I wouldn't mind the hot tub too now.
You know, everyone's coming to their house because they have special, unique things going on.
Well, you know, Brianna, I mean, she's a very imaginative girl.
They're like, she get it from her mama.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna start accusing her of different things. So
as long as they don't accuse her of being a witch, I think I can do without hearing that accusation ever again in this show. I'm sure we'll get it, but yeah, I don't need to hear it anytime soon, because we've heard that enough from season 1. Just because Claire's a little headstrong and she's a little different and she has different thoughts, but yeah, I'm gonna need her to slow it down. She just needs to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, you
know, if you're gonna make a plane, start with a smaller plane. Don't make this big thing that obviously has like wings and wheels, and what is this? Because people are gonna look at her weird, just like, how did you even think of something like that? What?
And then, okay, if something happens to them and it's just left with someone else, and it passed down from generations, and they'd be like, that's kind of odd that you know, great grandmother had a toy that she got from a nearby neighbor, and it's in the exact shape of a Delta plane.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or the fact that, you know, is that where the inspiration for planes came from?
Right.
You know, it's just.
Or when, people are doing those tours of, plantations and ridges, and they're like, ooh, this side cabin, it's kind of buried. But what they had this unique indoor plumbing that's similar to what we have now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're like, wow, where did that come from? So. So we'll see.
Yeah. But on to other things. Marsali is packing for New Bern. She's leaving.
I know.
But she threw Brianna out real quick. She's like, have I not been a sister to you? Do you think I haven't been pregnant enough times to know when somebody is?
She has. And she has. And that just warms my heart, especially just to know where they came from in their relationship, or even how she felt about Claire and to where they are now. That's why I'm on her side, and I feel like she should be a part of the club that knows the important information.
Exactly. Because I think, even like I said, I've only gotten up to book 7, I believe it is, but I don't think there's this much interaction between Marsali and Brianna, even in the books. Like, they are respectful of each other, and they are family, but this sisterly bond that we see of them in the show, we don't really get to see that. And I love seeing it on screen. And now she's leaving, and we're not going to get that. And like Brianna said, what am I supposed to do having a baby and you're not going to be here? This is BS, man. Doggone Jocasta.
I know. And what's going through my head right now is Fergus need to have a little meeting with Roger and show him the ways of having a baby. Okay, when she's giving birth, this is what you do.
I don't think Roger is gonna have any problem with that. So I'm sure Brianna may have told him, because they seem to have those kind of conversations, and she was probably like, yeah, let me tell you why I left while Marsali was in labor. So this is what Fergus was doing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they've already had that conversation.
So that's just crossed my mind right there.
Yep. But so I'm at the end of the episode now, and Claire just heard the song. And even in this is that dude. Now that I'm looking at him, it's him.
It is okay.
If you look at him from the side, you can kind of tell, but he has that curly long hair.
Yeah,
that's Wendigo Donner. That's him.
Okay,
that's him, and he has the gemstone in his hand. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then when you can kind of see his face a little bit more. They don't show his face full on, but you can kind of see more of the side of it. But yeah, I think it's him, because when he gets ready to start turning towards the camera,
it cuts out.
Yeah, I think that was him.
Okay.
I definitely think it was him. So I guess we'll see where that goes, because like I said, you had him in the last season, and now you have him here, and you show him with the stone. So obviously something is going to happen with that. I don't know if that's going to have something to do with Brianna and Roger when they finally decide to go back. But again, that might not happen for a while, because in the book, Amanda was like, she was a toddler, I think, when they took her back. Like, she was 2 or 3. So it's gonna be a while, unless they change it again for the show, because like I said, she's pregnant a lot later in the show than she was in the book. So I don't know how that's gonna work out. But like I said, I don't think they show us those types of things and just they don't show it to us and just leave us hanging. So him being back in the picture and showing us the gemstone, that's going to have some kind of significance.
It will.
On the story. I just don't know.
It will.
I just don't know what yet. Like, is he going to use that gemstone to run away once Jamie finds out that he's the guy that didn't help his wife?
Didn't help, because she made that perfectly clear.
Like, yeah, he's from my time, but he didn't help me. Because they could have avoided all of that. But you know what? I have to say this too. if that didn't happen, Lionel Brown and his men might still be alive, because Jamie would not have felt compelled to kill them all, because nothing overly bad had happened to Claire at that point, except she had been punched a couple of times.
Right.
So then we would still be dealing with the whole Brown thing. And yeah, not saying that what happened to Claire had to happen in order for that to happen. They could have done something totally different. But yeah, Jamie, I think when Wendigo's identity is revealed and Claire realizes that's who he is, I think Wendigo's gonna have some problems.
Yes, he will. He definitely will.
Gonna have some problems, but
some big problems.
I don't know.
So,
but I don't know if I feel like we're gonna get anything about that in these next 2 episodes, because like I said, now that they're kind of showing Malva's true nature, I feel like what I know about this story is about to come to fruition in these next 2 episodes, because I can kind of see how they can take care of in the 2 episodes. I feel like they probably would need 3, but since we only have 2 left for the season, I don't think they would actually take this into the next season. That would be dragging it out too much.
Right. And so, just the way they showed him, to really flush that out of what's going to happen, that don't seem like that's a part of what's going on now.
I don't think so. I think that's
so. I would think, I think that would be something maybe next season.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. But okay, Jamie has fully chosen a side. Lord John is on the opposite side of him yet again. But I mean, like I said, I really feel like that friendship will endure.
Oh yes, definitely.
If anything, they have William to tie them together.
Yeah,
even though definitely. William does not know that he is Jamie's son, there's still that bond between Jamie and Lord John. So yeah, I think
definitely he's not gonna let this ruin, the relationship. I wouldn't even say friendship, but the relationship that they have.
Right.
He's definitely not gonna let that ruin it.
Yeah, because John is family at this point.
Right. Yeah. And he didn't even seem like he'd be like, Jamie, right. That's what I'm saying. He's not looking like, oh, I'm never going to talk to you again. It's more of, okay, I was a little disappointed in your decisions.
Like, we just might have to take a break.
Yeah. Agree to disagree. Just agree to disagree.
In a major way.
But I'm still happy to see you every time I see you.
I know he be giving Jamie them looks.
Yeah,
like, boy, if you don't stop being so damn obvious to everybody, like, I guess maybe most people can't tell it, but the way he looks Jamie up and down, he ain't over
and that's been since the beginning. Since the beginning.
Well, no, not necessarily since the beginning, because at the beginning, at first, he was like, nah, this is the dude that captured me and let me go. Because you remember Lord John was the little kid who was spying on them.
Oh yeah,
he captured him.
Yeah,
let him go. And he was like, I promise you one day, sir, the next time we meet, I'll kill you. Yeah.
Okay, so the next time when he grew up, he was like, oh hey.
Right. But I think it was when he tried to kill Jamie and Jamie was like, go ahead and do it. I think that's when he started looking at him differently.
Like, wow.
Like, okay.
Okay.
But speaking of which, so they have mentioned that they have cast William for the next season.
Yay, yes.
I'm like, this is going to be interesting. So now I definitely need to catch up on the books. We're going to have to read the books.
Yes.
We're going to have to read the books. I'm pretty sure we probably have about a year to get through them. I think we can do that. You have summer break coming up. Something I don't have. I only get a week.
Right. Yes. And then start also I can do the audio. I have 2 books on audiobook.
Okay.
So I definitely can even listen to it.
Okay.
To get through a couple quickly. So it's reasonable to get through
They take so long.
It's reasonable to get through all the books before the year.
Okay. Yeah.
That's reasonable.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can do it. But because I'm really curious, I only know bits and pieces of what's happened past book 7.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I do know that apparently William does find out that Jamie is his father. I don't know how he finds out, but apparently a lot of people are like, yeah, William the brat. I'm like, how is he a brat if he's been told his whole life?
Right. And if he's upset about it, he actually has a right to be upset because he was lied to, friends. He was lied to.
Right. Now, depending on what he does with that anger, that might be a different thing.
That is a different story.
I don't know anything about that. So
yes.
I'm not sure. I know that there's supposed to be some more heartbreak for Fergus and Marsali. So they're in New Bern. They're in territory where people are tarring photo print shops. So I don't know. I just know that there's going to be a lot more stuff going on in the books that we'll probably see in season 7. And part of me kind of wants to be surprised, but at the same time, part of me wants to know what happens, because I also know something like major that happens. I'm not going to tell you what that is, because that one is explosive. But yeah, I heard something about that and I was like, wait, I need to read about this. So yeah, I think we're gonna have to.
Okay. Yes, I'm gonna have to catch up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell it to you just like that to make you be like, oh, I need to find out what this is.
Yeah, I do. That's what I feel like. I need to find out.
Yeah, because I do too. Because like I said, I've only heard, like, sometimes when you go through like the different websites or something, you'll get spoiled. Or I've done the Outlander panel at DragonCon for 2 years now, and sometimes they talk about book spoilers. So there are some things that I've learned from that panel. But like this one thing I heard, I was like, it was like a clutch my pearls, like, oh my God, what the hell? Like, yeah, it's major. So yeah, we might have to read those books and talk about those books. And yeah, because that's one that you're going to be looking at it like, oh my God, what am I reading? What? Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to
I can't wait.
Yeah. 2 episodes left.
Yes, 2 episodes. Can't wait. Yes, can't wait to see what happens with Malva. Especially since I saw a different side of her. So I don't know how to feel.
That damn girl.
So we're gonna see. I can't think of what else could possibly even happen unless they finish the Christie storyline in 2 episodes.
Yeah. Oh, wait. No, I think it's 3 episodes. I think
it's 3.
I think it's 8.
Okay.
This season.
So what else could possibly happen?
Well,
I'm thinking. I mean,
I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you now.
Right. It's like even with the war, it feels like that's going to be something that extends next season.
Oh, definitely.
So it's nothing, and there's no conflict right now with him. It's just that he chose a side on this episode, Give Me Liberty, but it's nothing that would be like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Next 3 episodes.
Yes, there are 3
so clearly
left.
It's gonna be all rich things.
Yeah, because they were getting ready to leave Wilmington. So
right. So we're going back. So pretty much it's gonna be all dealing with probably the Christies.
Yeah, but at least we had this break from, well, kind of sort of this episode.
Yeah, it was a little bit. We
didn't have to deal with Tom's old judgmental ass.
No, not at all.
So that's good. You didn't have to wish him upon a horse. So that's good. But I think you might be wishing Malva upon a horse right now.
Right.
Maybe not that.
Not well.
Well, I don't know, because
I don't know because
we think she killed the Sin Eater. So
right, I do.
Yeah. And maybe on a horse. Maybe.
When I said to kill someone, and I mean your dad, that was because of other reasons. Not no random reason because you want to cut off some fingers and experiment. That's something totally different. She's on something different. I was just saying that because her father was abusing her. Yeah. But Now you want some different stuff.
Yeah, but you know what? It kind of makes you wonder, like, is the way her father treating her, is that part of the reason why she's that way? You know?
So, I can say probably so, because he had a tight grip on her. And with that tight grip, what tends to happen is you kind of go past the bounds of what you need to do just to be able to express yourself.
Yeah.
And
it's that sheltered child syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely she's doing some things that other people wouldn't have done because we didn't need to do. But
it's that rebellious nature. Yeah.
I
mean, because I know I was one of those sheltered children. My parents didn't let me do a lot of stuff. Now I didn't go out killing folks and putting love spells out, but it's like, I understand that it's kind of like, I just want to be my own person. I want to be able to do stuff, but she's taking that shit to extremes.
Right. To the point where, I all believe in, free love, but you in the church with your dad can walk in and the neighbors can walk in at any moment, making out on the ground. So
Obadiah Henderson.
Right. And you acting like it's Roger's fault for walking in there.
But you know what? Maybe she did do that part on purpose too, because maybe she knew her father and her brother and Roger were coming back with that bell. It's not like it would be a secret because they're sitting there building the meeting house. So maybe she planned that on purpose. You know what I'm saying? To I don't know.
I don't know, but
trying to get Roger in her pocket, or to get, to have somebody that she can blackmail and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm about to do this, and you're not gonna tell anybody. You're gonna keep your mouth shut, or else I'm gonna tell such and such.
Right. Or she just like living on the edge, living on the edge, like, ooh, I may get caught, I may not get caught, Because definitely no one's gonna catch her with the sin eater. So who's going looking for him? No one has died, so clearly no one's looking for him right now.
And they didn't even go look for him when old girl was having her funeral. They were like, where's the sin eater? He's supposed to be here.
He'll come. But then, the son-in-law was supposed to pay him. So clearly you go to his house and pay. Maybe. So no one was really looking for him. And, that's probably why she chose him as her first victim.
Because nobody would go looking. I guess. That doggone Malva Christie.
Oh, goodness. So, okay. So, yeah, can't wait for episode 6. What's the title of episode 6?
The World Turned Upside Down. Another Hamilton. Maybe we'll meet Hamilton. No.
Oh, okay. Well, let's be ready for our world to be turned upside down.
Yeah. World's gonna be turned upside down. So we'll talk about that another time. But for now, that's it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fandom Hybrid. You can follow us on our YouTube channel and listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.